So I mean, everybody knows that the orcs are way stronger than anything else in Warcraft.
They can be strong, but the Alliance handles it like a boss.
Whatever, man. Do you have your key? I forgot.
I never carry my key. You know
Of course
this.
not.
Oh, who is it?
Oh my
It's
god.
a Don in the conch.
Conch got his key again? Okay, so then let me know. Fellowship of the Ring or Warcraft?
Lord of the Rings.
You shall not pass.
Dude, just let us in.
You shall not pass.
Jeez, dude, get away.
Alright guys, we're back. Break Room Blitz. Thank you for joining us. I'm DeAnthony. I have my boy Adon here and my boy Conch, as usual. Alright, we just went to go see Warcraft. Awesome movie for me.
Pretty good.
We went to go see it at Cinemark Theaters.
in XD.
XD.
Oh, it was nice.
Awesome. They gave us a little gift.
Oh yeah, so we got these mouse pads, which was like very appropriate.
I needed one, so I was happy.
Right? Oh man, it looks nice.
Yeah.
It's probably the most useful thing as a gift that I've gotten to any movie release.
Yeah, so you want to go see it, XD, Cinemark, 3D, awesome. Wherever you are, if they have a Cinemark, that's where you want to go, for sure.
For sure.
So, let's get right into it. Warcraft.
Yeah, man.
Any of you guys play?
I used to play.
Yeah,
I used
I
to
played
play.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Played a
I
little
actually
bit,
played
but,
back in college. There was a girl I was seeing, and she actually bought me all three of the first games. So
Right, yeah.
it was fun.
in that pack, right? Yeah.
So was it fun to see them on screen?
Yeah.
It's
Anything,
cool.
even comic books or anything like that. It's definitely fun to see what you played on screen. But there's always the fear factor of, is this another crappy video game movie? But I definitely think this one surpassed that.
Yeah, because I'm not a fan of Warcraft. I know nothing about it except for the logo. So I went in there as just a person who wanted to go see a live-action fantasy movie. And it did it for me, for sure. So I appreciated it. You guys thought it was pretty good?
I thought it was
I enjoyed it.
pretty good. Yeah. The visuals on it were stunning. It was an eye candy, awesome looking movie. You know, like the only thing I can probably compare it to is probably Avatar and what they did with their alien world there.
Yeah, you know Avatar,
CG.
I honestly think I don't even want to compare it to Avatar because usually I can care less about CG because anybody can make anything look pretty nowadays, and it's all about CGA. But honestly, in this movie, they did such an immaculate job. I walk out of there still being like I literally feel like the characters could 100% possibly be someone that I would bump into as I'm walking out of the theater.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
they look and
visuals
feel
were
that real.
awesome because
visuals, yeah.
as we're watching and we're seeing them interact with each other, like in the scene where the two best friends are talking, and you can see like the muscles in their shoulders like flexing as they move.
yeah.
It was so awesome.
The orcs, yeah.
Yeah, the orcs.
The
It was
big
like,
guys.
man,
Oh yeah.
that was really good.
I bought into it. Actually, they were my favorite characters of the movie. You know, not just because of that, but because it looked visually very nice.
Definitely. You know what? I would have liked them to actually incorporate this blue and red because I feel like this.
Oh right.
I
Yeah,
don't really know what
the
that
paint.
meant.
Well,
It was
really,
kinda weird.
I guess if you think about it, the blue they kind of incorporated in the armor of the guys, but not really because it was mostly metal. And then the red was for some of the orcs, you know. But yeah, I would like to see the war paint, you know.
So we have Travis Fimmel.
Yes.
He was pretty good. He plays on the Vikings.
Yeah, the Viking
I don't
series.
watch that, but
I'm a
you
huge fan of the Viking series. I'm all caught up, you know, the 4 seasons that they've had. Huge fan of this guy. You know, he plays Ragnar, which is the main chieftain of his tribe, and he does an awesome job. Vikings is like rated R, kind of like what a Game of Thrones is, but in the Viking world.
I liked him. He was
good.
like, he was serious, but he wasn't too serious. He
Yeah.
was like kind of humorous as well.
And you know what? He kind of plays the same role in Vikings in that sense too, because at times he can be kind of funny and back to being serious. So
now he makes me actually want to watch that show. I kind of haven't want to watch it.
I recommend it. I highly recommend it.
Did you like his performance?
Yeah, I really enjoyed his performance because the hero in this aspect had this kind of... He wasn't just a hero. I think that's one thing I really enjoyed about the film is it broke tradition as far as, who the hero was. Because actually, if you really think about it, you had heroes on both sides. Yeah. And the platform, the field, felt pretty level as far as who you were rooting for. And I really liked that aspect. And I know the director was going for that. So, very, very much accomplished that goal.
I actually want to piggyback on that in just a second, but that's a really good point, which is a reason why I kind of really like the movie. So we got Paula Patton, which to me, it was her best performance. I don't know what you guys think.
That's arguable.
To me, she made me feel like she was a tough orc.
She was definitely a tough cookie as far as being in that female role. We got a couple of females in the movie. She was definitely one of the tougher ones. She was in a lot of the bigger battles, going toe-to-toe with some of the guys and some of the bigger orcs and taking them out.
Was she believable to you?
As far as her acting, when it came down to some of the more serious notes, I liked her better in a lot of other previous roles that she's been in. But, there were some times where it kind of when they had love interest and different scenes like that where I'm just not buying it. And she plays a half orc and half human, okay?
Right.
And to me, it was just she was more human than she was orc, for the sense of, I think they just wanted to throw in, okay, let's throw in a sexy orc, and then we'll just put some, dentures in her, and then paint her green. So I mean,
you weren't buying it then.
I wasn't buying it too much. I was in and out of it. I did. There were some scenes where I felt for her, and then other scenes that just didn't do it for me.
So that scene when she's like, "So you think you're tough?"
No, yeah.
Oh man, that was so awesome to me.
Because even the other character that she was doing that with, he was just kind of straight faced about it.
Well, he was tough, but she was also challenging him at the same time. He wasn't supposed to back. You want him to back down?
Right. Yeah.
No, he can't back down.
Right. Of
that
course
killed his character.
I definitely think she did a good job.
It was half and half for me.
So what do you think about her?
I liked her as a character, although, she was the only, and maybe, I'm not sure, she's literally the only half-breed. I would have liked to seen a couple more of her, because the thing is, putting her next to the orc and then the frickin' Frostwolves, female orc, she's literally there's not much in comparison in the character designs. And I would have liked to see a little bit more hints. They could have easily done very slight hintful, what's the word I'm looking at? Enhance on the cheekbones to give her a little bit more of that orc feel.
Sure. Yeah.
But still make her look pretty.
Yeah.
And if they would have did that, I would have enjoyed that a little bit more. But overall performance, I was happy with it.
My take on the orcs was they already look humanesque. Mm-hmm. So in order for them to say, you look like more of a human to me, she would have to have those humanoid features.
Oh, definitely.
Because his wife, she looked kind of human. Except she was ugly. But other than that, she kind of looked humanoid. So I was okay with her looking like that.
They could have given the same nose, but the cheeks, if you look at some of the cheekbones on the other females, they enhanced them a little bit, gave them a little bit more of a round and then tough edge.
Right.
And they could have just a little bit, not a whole lot, but just enough to give me a sense.
I like some of those ladies that have all the ugly makeup on. And their cheekbones.
Well, no, not kind of. Because I mean, I used to watch that show where they do all the makeup and everything, and they've managed to make beautiful orcs. And take a page out of that. It's a makeup show. I probably call it. Oh my gosh, but in there, it's possible. They could have done it. They should have just pushed for a little bit more. And then if you put them in a lineup, you can see that she's completely lined up with these characters.
Sure. So everyone they feel differently. I liked how she looked.
It's kind of half and half.
The fangs kind of looked a little fake, but if she was supposed to be...
You know what? As an orc, I would imagine her teeth to be a little jacked up, of course. But, I mean, her teeth were spotless. They were super white, and, she had those two tusks that were just, not as intimidating as some of these other ones.
Maybe she doesn't hunt. Maybe she doesn't bite the way that everyone else does.
Well, she was
in chains.
Yeah, she was captured.
She was in
chains. I'm going to give her that.
Yeah. Who knows what her backstory is.
Right.
They say that in the the extended edition, you will get to see her backstory.
Oh, that would be nice.
That got cut off.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that would be nice.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Actually, I was reading on the extended edition. We're gonna get a little bit more, and I think that's gonna help it because I think one of the biggest flaws for the movie, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, is the pace. And I know we've gone back and forth on this, but we'll get into it later.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So then we have Toby Kebbell.
Okay. Yeah. He's pretty cool. He's been in that last Fantastic Four movie. He played Doctor Doom, which I think he was probably one of the better characters.
I was like, this guy looks familiar.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
you.
And you know what? As far as like a fantasy role, he was actually in Wrath of the Titans, but he played one of the other demigod characters that fought together with the main hero of that movie. So, but he was in there. Yeah, so.
All right, I'm going to watch that.
That was a little bit of there. So, I mean, seeing him in this role was like way different, of course, but I think he carried himself very well.
Him as Durotan, to me, I was able to connect with Durotan.
So Durotan was the main hero of the Orcs, right? He was the chieftain of the tribe.
Right.
And you know what? He was one of my favorite characters.
But he didn't seem, it was almost like he was a chief, but he wasn't a chief. There was other chiefs or higher ranking chiefs.
There was other clans, and he was the clan leader of his tribe.
Was his brother the guy with all these like dragons on his back?
I don't know if they were brothers.
It was his brother.
I believe that was just that's Black Hand, and Black Hand is a well-known orc in the wild world, but I don't believe that's his brother. You know, because he's an orc. They made him look like a Frostwolf, but I believe that in the actual universe he's an orc, and Durotan's a Frostwolf. But I don't think there may be some relation there.
It's like when he grabs his hair and like lets him go. I feel like it was more of like, or even when he stops him from, he cuts off some of his hand or whatnot.
Oh right, yeah.
I feel like he did that because there was some relationship that they had.
Well, the relationship, actually, this is the really cool thing that I love that they brought into it, because you have kind of this native heritage coming in with the clans and the chieftain. It's a really traditional, which I loved, and with that comes brotherhood. It doesn't matter. That's the one thing, the beauty that I like of it is when you're within a clan, it doesn't matter what family you come from, you're brothers, and you work together as a unit. You support each other, and despite your disagreements, you're still.
I got that sense of tradition
and
like that they were like pretty old school.
I would love to see just the movie based upon how the orcs derived, because there's so many different clans. Like that'd be pretty.
I feel like I could have seen a whole movie about just orcs.
Oh yeah.
They didn't make it seem like these savages were the bad guys and they were just out for blood.
Yeah.
They both understood. They both had a sense of humanity.
Yes.
So they understood, passion and compassion and empathy
and lives.
Just love. The way he loved his wife.
Oh yeah.
Durotan's wife was like that was his heart right there.
Totally,
Let me go first.
Yeah, exactly.
And he walks through the portal.
Well, the beautiful thing too is you start out the movie with their family.
Right.
And you would expect people to start off with the humans right away because it's always humans.
Such a vivid scene.
I loved it.
I loved it.
It showed them like laughing and making jokes, and I'm just like, they literally look like a family that I would live next to. That's why I'm saying, like the CG mixed in with the personalities, I literally feel like these people can belong.
Have you ever seen like a CG, like a monster in a fantasy world that's pregnant?
No, that was awesome. That's one thing I definitely appreciated about it is they did so many good things with this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was so great. It wasn't like it was like some demon child in her stomach.
No,
it was that's their family.
And the baby was awesome.
The baby was adorable. Oh my god!
There's that part where
it
was just funny because like the part where he's holding him.
Yeah.
And usually as humans we go, oh baby. Yeah. And Durotan's like, and the baby's like, I was like, yeah, kiddo.
And we have Daniel Wu. I don't know if you guys know Daniel Wu.
Oh yeah.
But he's awesome in The Badlands.
Oh yes.
Badlands is my new favorite show.
Yes. Definitely.
If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that show.
Oh, you finally saw it?
Oh yeah, I think I have one more episode left.
He was sleeping, y'all. He was sleeping on it.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to see it. I got like this list to catch up on, and Badlands is just done so well. I really like that show. I hope they get more seasons coming up.
Once I found out that he was playing the main antagonist in this movie, because a lot of Asians only get to play one thing, and that's just kung fu.
Right. Yeah.
But he branched out and played something totally different.
Man.
Oh yeah.
And to me, he did a really good job. I couldn't even tell it was him.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. No way. I could not tell. But like, he had my attention. Just his character, his presence, everything that he was doing. It was like, man, this guy is evil. This guy is ultimate evil. Like
Definitely.
on any side.
I want to see him in the studio, in the booth, doing that voice. Because it's so hard for me to believe that's him.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, no way, that's not coming out of him.
Yeah.
But the character Gul'dan was just, the hero to villain complex that I always talk about did a fantastic job.
Oh, totally.
The presence, who he was. There's that scene where like they're walking through and do you have to kill them all? I need them all.
All of them.
I was just like, well, damn, dude, all right, chill.
Yeah.
And even he had a sense of humanity because really all he was doing was trying to protect his people.
Exactly.
Right.
Not to mention the baby almost actually passed, and he resurrected.
Oh, that was such an awesome part, man.
Yes.
He just killed Bambi like that.
Oh, yeah.
What's over there?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then put it. I was like, oh,
like, we have a new warrior.
Yeah. Like, man,
like the baby.
Poor Bambi.
That's how he died. Damn it.
Yeah.
He was an awesome villain.
He looks like this hunched over old dude, and
Like
all of a sudden,
Yeah.
he's like, boom.
And he was like this tall orc.
I was like, how's Durtan gonna fight him? Or how's he gonna fight Durtan with a hunchback?
Yeah.
Right.
Took off that cloak. I was like, oh.
Yeah, this guy's a
Okay, so you didn't really like the movie too much.
I didn't really like the movie too much. No.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah. It was a hot mess of a movie, right? It looked beautiful. It was stunning. We got action. We got war. We got craft. We've got orcs versus humans. We've got magic and brute strength and portals being opened.
That sounds awesome. What you're describing.
It was kind of funny because
it's awesome, right?
Literally,
like, all of that. And that's what I like. I like all that. But when I talk about a movie and you talk about characters interacting with each other, I got more of that out of the orcs than I did out of like the orcs interacting with the humans, and mostly just the humans. Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of human interaction that, like, okay, here's this character, let me bring him in, and then maybe off with him down the line, and then I don't feel for this guy afterwards, So it's like, oh, well, they kind of offed with him, but let's move the story along. And I'm just like,
there were some key parts.
What is up with that?
Definitely agree with you. There were some parts where that didn't need to be necessary, like his son.
Yeah,
I didn't like the son. I was like, where did that come from?
They brought him
there was
in.
no real need for the son, and then they just killed him off. So it's not like I'm gonna get any more of him later on. They could have definitely kept that out. He could have just been one of his like trainees or something like that. That that actually had to pass or whatever. It didn't need to really. There was no point for him in there.
Yeah,
it's not even a spoiler. Because he didn't need to be in it.
I was going to say, I know you were.
Honestly, like, you could have taken him out of the movie, and it probably wouldn't have made it any different. It semi-helped the love story trigger off, because you get a little bit of history with him, and you find out about his wife, and how his wife died at birth, and he blamed his son, so he let his son join. There's a little bit of backbone that they put to it. But you could have probably taken it out of the movie.
It doesn't add or take away from it.
Yeah, like I didn't really empathize with them too much, and I'm not saying that just to be cold and like just saying I hated the movie. I'm just saying that the fact that how they brought it in, it just maybe wasn't written that well.
Yeah. Well, I think it was written well. The problem was I think they had to take stuff out, and that's according to being in the time schema and everything. That's what we're getting We're definitely getting an extended edition off of this. And, it's the same thing with Lord of the Rings and stuff, but the thing is Lord of the Rings felt more fluid. This, I think, was missing those key points that could have maybe tied the story a little bit better. But I still walked out of there feeling like I got a decent story. Not a unique one, but a decent one. Great visuals and great visuals.
And also, it didn't have a big budget. It only had $100 million budget. So that's a small budget.
Only $100 million. Wow.
Yeah, compared to like Avatar or Star Wars or something.
Okay.
So so it had a lot, and it took over 10 years. It's been in production.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of things to put in it. They had a lot of risk to take. So I think that they did all that they could do. I think they did a good job with the story that they told. They have 100 hours of gameplay that it takes to beat one of those games
into you gotta really grind it
about
out.
2 hours.
It lost my attention, and I can't really pinpoint it, but I got frustrated with the movie at some points as far as like going back and forth from scene to scene, like they have this wizard's tower, and we're going. How many times are we going to go back and forth? Can this guy just teleport and go by himself? And then we'll meet up with him.
They didn't follow him every time.
They followed him pretty much way too many times.
The Medivh character.
Him as an actor, he was really good.
Oh, Ben Foster did amazing.
Ben Foster was great.
I love Ben Foster. Ben Foster.
I like him in the bed. When he was sitting in the bed, it was
weird
weird looking.
It was.
Just like, what is that?
Yeah.
Was he
swollen
or something?
That was
and
a
I
little
didn't like
shot
that.
of
See,
the
and I'm saying, like, do we really need to go back and see him? Okay, I'm getting it. Like, he's, like, struggling every single time he goes back to this tower. I'm like, can we just leave this tower and not come back to it until, like, the very end,
Yeah, well,
so,
like, I would say it would have been a lot better. I was discussing earlier, and it would have been better if the fight that took place in the separate realms, not realms, but just places in the same area in Azeroth.
Right.
But it would have been better if that fight would have leaked out here, and it would have all been taken care of here, because you have Medivh that becomes, the true antagonist at this point. Medivh, is it Medivh?
Medivh.
Yeah. Medivh. Medivh. He's a diva.
Oh my goodness.
I want the stage. Medivh. Yeah. So I mean, it would have been better if they would have actually had everything conclude at the gate. And
yes,
I would have been looking forward to that. But they kept going back to that damn tower.
Yeah, Ben Foster as an actor, I mean, I like him. I like him in a lot of roles that he takes. This one kind of played to those same similar roles, but like in a different fantasy scope, of course.
I would like to see him all out. I feel like he has way more range than what I remember seeing him in. He was in X-Men as Angel.
Yeah.
But they didn't do a lot with him.
No.
So I really want to see him break out. I couldn't tell if he was going to be the bad one because they were kind of making it obvious.
I kind of saw that.
Then,
that was one of the things that I did see. As far as like any other person, I was like, okay, this
but they were kind of giving that to you. That's why it was obvious. But to me, sometimes when it's a good movie, they'll give you someone who's obvious, but then switch it on you. Like, nope.
And he did redeem himself. I mean, it wasn't for the lack of him wanting to be evil. It was him like kind of seduced of being evil. Of
right, temptation.
Right. And
he
got possessed. It wasn't that he got possessed. It's he started. He in the movie he gives a little bit of his story on what he's aiming to do and what he's wanted to do. He even forsook his love life to get to where he was at, and I think honestly, because you didn't get much backstory to it, but I think he was tampering with everything he could possibly tamper with, so he can control it. He could become the best.
So what about the action? Do you guys like the action? I really enjoyed the action.
Yeah, the action was great.
It was like a bunch of Hulks just going at it. That's what it was.
And you know what? When you talk about action and a lot of action movies, I don't get the sense of impact.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? These orcs are swinging away like with their hammers, and it was like if Hulk was able to hold Thor's hammer and just have at it. That's what this movie gave me.
Yeah.
It was just like.
The other thing I like too is they didn't do anything completely unrealistic to the point where like if an orc and a human went head to head, the human would
stand strong. Yeah.
No, if an orc ran up to a human and freaking rushed him, the human was it was a choo-choo train go
every time. And I like that.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about Anduin too, is because he goes up to Asunder in one of the fights and he says don't use brute strength.
Right.
He sees these guys are crunching down, and when you see Anduin get into it and him fighting, you're just sitting there going, this is why he's going to be an amazing character.
Right. Yes.
And just the fighting style, who he is, and how he approaches every fight. He just had this awesome little.
He was very swift about himself.
Yeah, he was nimble.
He knew how to use his own strength.
He wasn't cocky about it.
Right.
He wasn't cocky about it at all.
He was very experienced.
Yeah. Very experienced. Yeah. He's our warrior. He's our hero of the human race.
Yeah. He would analyze the playing field and then work according to that rule instead of trying to overrule the board.
The only action part I did not like, unfortunately, is the golem. And I like golems because golems are originally a Israelite or a Jewish monster that comes out of their book.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know that.
When I see that, I like that connection. And there's a lot of things that they connected to with Israelites, with the whole putting the baby in the river and things like that.
Oh, right, yeah.
But the golems kind of suck.
That scene would have done that last scene would have done a lot better. They could have gotten rid of the golem, or even brought him along. It doesn't matter. But they could have had it at the ground floor where everything was going on,
Yeah.
But mind you, it does kill off some of the things that did happen at that event, at that point of the movie. But
the magic the wizards had was awesome. I've never seen any like wizards command magic the way that they did.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
It was really impactful. It stood out. It
surprised
flamboyant.
me. That honestly surprised me. I didn't think that they were going to be that into magic. You know, when you compare it to Lord of the Rings, because obviously they're both within that fantasy realm.
Right.
You know, and Gandalf, his magic is very subtle, but you know he has this presence about him. But we don't actually see him casting spells like how they did, and you know this whole teleportation. You know,
right. But these guys were just all over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like,
the conjuring of the spells, that whole electric scene too. It was just done. It was done well.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, it didn't seem cheesy. It seemed like that was lightning that he manifested to go down there. That's exactly what it looked like. It wasn't cheesy at all. Yeah. So is this going to be your new Lord of the Rings? Probably not for you.
Definitely not for me, man. Lord of the Rings has got to be like my favorite movie as far as like Return of the King, Fellowship. I mean, that's my go-to perfect fantasy movie.
This is like the very next. This is like the next best thing.
This says.
I wanted it to be my fill in the gap for my Lord of the Rings fix, because we went through and had Lord of the Rings, and then we had The Hobbit. Yeah. And now we don't have any more fantasy titles coming out in December when they usually did. You know,
it's not my next Lord of the Rings, because I can equally watch this movie at home and relax and just watch this movie.
Yeah,
but it definitely. It's just under Lord of the Rings for me, because Lord of the Rings and even The Hobbit just are fantastic pieces of work. Mm-hmm. But I would definitely, if I were home relaxing one day and scrolling through my freaking archive, and I see Warcraft pop up, this is one of the movies I will definitely put on and just kick back and watch, because it's that entertaining.
Yeah, it's not the next Lord of the Rings, but I will say that it's a second best. And I'm definitely going to go watch it again.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. And they come out with a trilogy. I'm going to watch every single one. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. I'm there. Because I just enjoy that universe. So to me, it's more of a mixture of Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones.
Okay.
So it's not Lord of the Rings, and it is definitely not Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. But it's somewhere in the middle somewhere. This middle space.
They've also got a little bit of Harry Potter in there. Just the style.
Yeah, I have more magic.
Yeah, the magic. Yeah.
And then throw Avatar in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's all that.
I would say Avatar.
So, Blu-ray. Are we buying it?
Oh, heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
I am going to buy it when it goes on sale. And, I mean, as far as, like, watching it again, maybe for matinee.
Matinee?
I liked it so much, he's not going to wait for it to go on sale. I'm just going to buy him a copy.
Oh, jeez. So generous.
I liked it.
He liked it a lot.
The movie.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna buy.
You know what?
I don't know if I'm gonna buy the Blu-ray.
I want the extended
I have so many Blu-rays I'm gonna be buying.
Yeah, I want the extended edition. I want to see the rest of the film. I want to see what they made Duncan Jones cut out for the time ratio, because I bet you $5. He probably put that movie out there and said it's there, but it's missing this extra couple that I needed to put in there. And to see that, I will. It'll bump up my score. I promise you.
Sure,
it will.
Yeah.
You're gonna get to see Paula Patton's origin. Yeah, definitely.
Which I would look forward to, because she was an intriguing character. Yeah. She was compelling enough for me to want to know more about her. And this
she bridged their two worlds with the orcs and the humans.
Now, since she was green,
yeah,
is she someone that the main antagonist created or put life into, and then they had kids with a human? Because only the green ones were the ones that he put life into.
Right, yeah.
So I'm wondering, I really want to know, where did she come from?
Right.
And is he going to make that consistent?
Yeah.
You have to make it consistent, because you can't show me that, and then all of a sudden, oh no, she's just...
Or are they going to not circle back on this movie because maybe it flopped as far as when the critics go, and they're just going to go with another Warcraft story?
All right, guys, so what do you give the movie overall?
Overall, I'm going to give it a 7.5. I really liked it for the chances it took as far as the storytelling goes. The visuals were just immaculate. The story, that's what knocked it down. But overall, I would say go watch this movie in theaters, see it in IMAX. You don't have to pay the extra for the 3D unless you want it. 3D was good on it though.
You want to see it in 3D.
Yeah,
you might as well
good.
get the best experience. Why not?
Yeah, overall it's worth the watch just because of I'll leave it at that.
Worth the watch.
I can go on forever.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to give it a verdict, out of the theater, when I just like emotions were running, of course, and I was just like, you know what, I got to give it a 5 out of 10. Just for like the.
God,
it's 5
out of 10.
But
This guy.
I let it set in a little bit. I'm gonna bump it up a point. I'm gonna give it a 6 because I got the war, I got the craft, I got really nice fight scenes. The story, again, stories really do it for me. I want a good story. Okay, this was an original story, really. And I got to give it that. But it just wasn't well executed. So for that reason, that's cool. Definitely see it in 3D. See it in like Cinemark DX or XD. Really good. You're gonna get a really good quality out of it.
It's definitely worth it.
And you're gonna get some cool little thing like this. Hopefully. If you see it in time.
Definitely. I appreciate it. I needed one. I was cheap. I had just paper trying to move my mouse on a piece of paper. So this meant a lot to me. Overall,
verdict.
I'm gonna give it an 8. There were some things that, like I said, his son didn't need to be in it.
Yeah.
The Golem just kind of killed it for me a little bit.
Yeah.
So it kind of took away from some of the action.
Cartoony.
Yeah. And it was a little slower paced.
Yeah.
And they were like hiding and talking, and the Golem is just like, "Where are they?"
Right.
And I'm like, "What? You didn't see him go behind there?" So to me, it just kind of killed a little bit. So I'm gonna give it an 8.
Yeah.
But I definitely enjoyed it. I would watch it again. Overall, as a fantasy movie,
Yes.
I feel like they did a good job.
Yeah, they did.
Fantasy movie that was an adaptation to a game.
Yeah.
So
I was actually going to say that right now. As far as game movies go, they always screw it up. I mean, you can only go
Super Mario Brothers.
Oh my goodness!
That's all we got to say there.
I still watch that movie just for fun.
What?
Okay? I gluck, and then when they make the
gosh.
it's funny to me. But Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter was horrible. But usually they screw them up.
Yeah.
This is definitely on the list of they did not screw up a video game movie.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
No, they didn't screw up. I wouldn't call it. The movie was not a failure by all means.
No.
The reviews that they got from the critics, I think they were very harsh. We got a 25%, and then from the fans that reviewed it, it got like in the 80s.
I'm hoping
and for me, I'm like right there in the middle with it.
I hope as time goes on, that since they did those ratings before the movie came out, maybe more critics will go see it, and it'll go up a little bit.
Sure.
At least to like a 48, because the fans already have it at like a 78, something like that.
Well, actually, most people after the fact except for Rotten Tomatoes. I think Rotten Tomatoes, I kind of give them credibility, and I don't anymore. But IGN, they gave it a 7.
I want to know who these people are.
People have been giving it a 7+, and that means they're enjoying it, which means you should definitely go watch it. I would say go watch it.
Definitely go watch it. If you can see it in 3D, see it in 3D. Yeah. XD Cinemark Theaters was awesome. So we're just giving a shout out because we've enjoyed them for the past few months now.
Every single movie that we've seen, it's been there. So
with the exception of Batman vs Superman. I'll take a reimbursement.
That's a whole other thing.
Sorry.
We're gonna sweep that under the rug.
We're out. I'm D'Anthony.
Adan.
The coach.
And we're out. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like us.
Yes, please.
Let's go, old man. You know what? I can do this all day.
Yo, what are you guys doing? So you want to have cardboard growing out your hands with a cardboard box on your head?
Dude, it's Weapon X. Ka-chink, ka-chink, snick it, snick it.